ASMR video. Today I will continue my journal entry app with React.js, and I am going to continue where I have left off from part 1. So in part 1 I managed to create a hard-coded dummy entries to test my components. This is the first entry, the second entry, and the third entry. So let's start. Enjoy your tingles. So right now I'm gonna try to fix this because these keeps on shifting, and I just realized that if I make the button invisible, I am going to cause this thing to shift. So maybe rather than making it not render on my page, I'm gonna just disable the button. So I'm gonna try that. Okay. I actually tried to do this, but I could do this but flip the sign. So when this is true, if this page is 0 or less, if like I'm at the very first page, I'm going to make the previous button disabled. And the same thing for the next button. If I'm at the last page, I want to disable it. So what this is if my page is equal to the length minus 1 of that, like basically if I'm on the last page, I'm going to disable the next button. And so now I managed to get a workaround done. So instead I disable the next button if I'm at the last page, and the previous button when I'm at the first page. And so yeah, so the next thing I'll probably do is create a form that will allow you to add entries. So let's get that. So I am trying to display the form right above the journal pane. So that's what I'm going to try to do. inside my journal component and put it above the main. I think. Or what I can do is I want to organize it again. So maybe wrap this into a div. And where I set it in journal or something, I created a class of journal. And then put it here, like that. Inside main. So the structure, the main, is this entire part, and the div is like your flexbox container that has the journal. Okay. And now what I'm gonna do is work with the form. So let's try that. So I am going to I'm gonna make handlers where I'll pass it into the form. So like a function that triggers every time I change something. So in my journal I have a title and my description, and I'll always set the date to today's date. So that's what I'm gonna do, put it the label for title and the text for the description. And here input, instead of input I'll do text area, because I want the users to get them to like that they know that they can write a lot of text, like a paragraph. It seems that I have this text area, so I might do I'm gonna wrap these into divs, these form elements. So to make them block, and then put them here, and put them there. Okay. Alright. And so I am going to also apply this CSS, but I'll probably do that later. For now, I am going to pass in functions that will trigger the change of the form. So, yeah. those functions. I'm really considering of changing these functions into arrow functions, but I'm gonna probably do that later. So for now, I'm just gonna make it name function. So. Oh yeah, I'm going to now do, I should have done in my form HTML4 instead of 4, so that I would not let it confuse with a 4 keyword. Just like I had to do class name instead of class in React, instead of 4. In this case, I have to use HTML4. Okay, so I made it so every time I input something, it displays the text here. So what I'm gonna do is make set all of the other form inputs. So the title, I'm gonna make a pass an on change for the title. So let's try that. I made it so I pass a handler every time. I call this handler every time I change the inputs, every time I alter the input fields of the title and the description of the form. Then I'm going to display something. I just console log this for now. And by the way, if you cannot say the form, then you get there it is. I'm just gonna zoom in like that so you can see this form here. It's actually better now. So like the title input and then the entry input, and so that will change. By the way, if the form, don't mind the CSS for now. I'm gonna change this CSS later on in this video, so but for now I am going to get these functions working. So let's try that. I'm going to now I'm going to create a submit handler. So like every time I submit my form, then I am going to call a function. So now I'm gonna have to make a button on the form. Big right now, yeah. And let's say this, and I'm gonna put a unsubmit event. And let's now create a handler for that. Here, I just call this because I don't want the page to reload. Because if I would not call this, the page will reload, which is the default. So, and of course, I'll have to pass this as well. Okay, so I get it. If I click this button, you'd see my mouse clicking. If you hear it, it console logs this form submit called. So just testing that the function is called. So now what I'm going to do is make use of these functions. So I will eventually create I will create an array. So I will get it so the array is updated. So now let's try, and first of all I'm going to make this the starter, like the starter journal entries, and then set it as a state variable. So list, which is the array, and every time I change something in the form, whatever the inputs, I'm gonna update the state, the temporary whatever journal entry. And it's going to be an object of title and description. So like a title, entry content, which are the fields of the entry, of the journal entry. Okay. So yeah. So what I'm gonna now do is use these functions and update the temp entry. So sets this entry. I'm just gonna recall this. So basically this, just reiterating that this will store the temporary entry with changes to reflect on the form when creating a new entry. Okay. Alright. So I'm gonna set the temp entry and make it an object. So I am going to I'm gonna maybe do a clone of that, so no, or something. Maybe I'm gonna do this. Title, temp entry dot title, and then descript entry content, and then set that to temp to whatever. Like that. And yes, this will make it so I will be able to do that, and as well as I am going to do the same thing here, but this will be the title. If I'm changing the title on the input, I'm going to update the title, and the entry content will probably stay the same. Let's move it up here. And here when I submit the form, I plan to add a temp entry added to this, all of these lists. So is make a new object. No, why I put it here? I should have put it here in create form. Submit. Temp entry like that. Just deep copies of that. I'm gonna make sure this works. Okay. New. And then for some random text F. Whoops. Okay, I accidentally did prevent default. That's why I have to call this, because the form submits, it refreshes the page, and I don't want that to happen. Okay, so that's what happens if you don't put the prevent default. So if I did this, I could see the entry that will be added. So I am going to now do something here where I'm gonna also make a date. So because all of the entries will have a date, which will be today, which I put it here. To date string, yeah. Like that. And I'm going to update the journal entries by calling set journal entries or something. Or let's make a clone for that. Journal entries. Like that. New entries that push. I'm going to append to the new entry to the new entries array, which is a copy, and then I will now probably call this set entries, which will reflect that. Alright, so let's see how it goes. So, yeah, let's see how it works. Okay, so let's see if I see a new entry on a journal entry. If I see like 4 of them with this, I'll know that it works. Second, third, and form submit entry. So this is the newest entry that I made, and as you can see, it is working. It's kind of working now. So, and what I could also do is set the current page number so that it will automatically display the new page. set it to the journal entries length -1. Okay, so let's try it again. First entry, third entry, whatever, 42. I wanted to do it I wanted to display the last page, so it's probably not what I want because it sets the second to last page. Just maybe refer to the newest entry, so the new array. Let's call it I went to Toronto. Maybe I just write random text and then there we go. I managed to work around. I'm not sure why. Probably it's like a band-aid fix, but yeah. And so I create a new entry and it displays it on the last page. It automatically does that. And so yeah. So what I'm gonna now do is, first of all, fix the CSS. Yeah. Next up, not first of all, but the CSS is terrible, so I'm gonna now have to change it. So let's go to the CSS and change the form styles. I want to make the same. I want to make it these colors the same as that. So like that. Maybe I will set the width here. Maybe set it to, let's say, 800 pixels. Center it, so I put automatically set the left and right margins. Maybe I might just do, I don't like the light color here, so maybe put the background color. Maybe set the color as the same thing as here, so instead of this, make it like that. Alright. So for the form, I'm gonna set the margins up. Maybe. Let's push it to 50 pixels. Auto 0. Top right bottom. Top right left bottom. Okay. And I am going to also, where can I put, maybe I can change the button, maybe the style, because I don't like how big the button is. outlines because I don't like how the outlines look. As you can see, it's really ugly. So I'm going to change the form inputs. So maybe change it to 8 here. This is the text area. Okay. Now I could maybe I'm not gonna put a border. Maybe let's try the box shadow. I don't like that one. Let's just keep these borders for now. Maybe set it to this color. I should have added variables here, so like I could use CSS variables like -root, where I could store variables using var and parentheses, something like -- background color, where you reuse the same color. Alright, I just keep it like this. Maybe I'll just probably make a title here. A title letter, maybe. And then the other title for description. Or something like that. Let's just make it easy, something like this. And so title every entry and your entry. Maybe I don't like how this is spaced out. There's like a big space between title and your entry. So in these paragraphs, I'm going to probably do a margin bottom. I could use something called legend in form, but I don't like that one, so I am going to go to my CSS and reduce the margin. Yeah, like that. And so like this is what it looks now. So you have your title, your entry, and create new entry. this is like almost like a to-do list where you add items into your to-do list, but instead of this to-do list, it's just like a set of journal entries. But the only thing I really changed is like how it's presented. Like instead of a to-do item, you have a page with your entry. So yeah, and it's still working. It adds these pages like that, and I could view them like that. So yeah, now what I also want to do is make a simple button animation. That I want to make a button animation that changes the color of the button, maybe darkens it. So I'm gonna do a hover, really easy. So yeah, instead of that, I am going to set a background, make it a bit darker. And I'm gonna also make it grayed out. Alright. Whoops. Oh, just change the border here. Yeah. And you can see that I make not an animation, but a hover effect where if I hover it, it changes the styling a bit. And so yeah. And maybe make the text a bit bigger on my button, on my form element. Like that. And make the text there, you know. Have a resize to none or something. I don't want this to be resizable, so I'm gonna do resize none. Let's see if I add a lot of text, and I would do it like that. So basically, if my text gets big, it will have a overflow Y scrolling. So okay, so now what I'm going to do is probably display a message saying if there is no journal entry, say you have no journal entries, so something like that. So operator here. It's a conditional render here. Display this if there is at least an entry. If not, then I'll display some message. Something like that. And maybe you add a CSS, add styles here. So maybe I'm at the point where I will remove these sample entries, and I'm gonna put an empty array here, like that. So here, I'm gonna just set a title here. I'm gonna make the text a bit brighter, and my CSS. Okay. So first, I have no entries. If I do this, I'm going to create a new entry. I have my first entry here, June 10th, 2023. And if I do this, blah blah blah, second, I create another entry. It takes me to the second entry and my first and my second. So yeah. And finally, I'll just do one more. Blah, something like that. Whoops. I create a new entry. And there you go. I created a third entry with a form. Alright, so I'm at a part where I'm going to end this part. And by the way, if you have not understand anything that relates to coding, it's okay, because the purpose of this video is really for your ASMR tingles as you watch me code and get your tingles. This video is not really meant to be a full-on tutorial, by the way. I was saying things because I was just trying to do what I'm trying to do in progression and making this app with your tingles. And yeah, so this will be the end of part 2. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you have gotten your tingles, please give this video a thumbs up. It will be greatly appreciated. I make ASMR-fied videos for your tingles across different kinds of content, from coding to backrooms to telling you random stories about my dreams. So stay tuned for the next ASMR video.